Hi, my name is David Brenner. I'm the founder and principal of Habitat Horticulture, and we're standing in front of a living wall at Prolific Machines in Emeryville, California. This was a really exciting project for me because the client wanted a lot of diversity and some really interesting plant specimens, and to have these specimens thrive, we really needed the right light. Typically when we start a project, we start designing a project, light is usually the limiting factor. So we have to take into consideration where that light's coming from, especially in an indoor environment where it's usually supplemental light. We turn to Kessel, which we find has really the best lights out there on the market. The right spectrum is dialed in to really bring out the colors and for the plants to grow, but to actually keep them compact on the wall. Another thing we really like about these lights is that you can have them way up high, far from the living wall, and they can penetrate into the wall, so you can actually have more diversity in plant dimension and depth off the wall without having to worry that certain species might be shading out the species below it. Some of the interesting plants on the wall, we have this philodendron, this crocodile philodendron. It has this beautiful new growth that has chartreuse and kind of orangey undertones. We've got stromanthes, which here more than other places, it really brings out the purple undertones, which are beautiful. And Bilbergia, this bromeliad, which we usually never would grow in the wall, but here we were able to take a few risks and use plants that we don't typically use that we've always wanted to use. And this has been up for almost 2 years and it's really thriving. This is a Alocasia cuprea, and you can see the new growth right here, which is so exciting. Just walk around, everything seems to have like a new leaf on it that's just unfurling. The Streptocarpella, you can see this is one of the species that looks just beautiful on the wall because it's really compact, and eventually these will turn to purple flowers. This is Philodendron Birkin, which on a lot of installations we see this new growth that comes out. It's kind of almost distorted or mutated, and here we haven't seen any of that, which is, I can only say it must be the lights.
Hi, I'm Phil Greenberg. I am a system designer and field manager with Habitat Horticulture in Berkeley, California. The Kessel lights have allowed us to grow plants with different light requirements in the same space. The growth we've gotten out of the plants on this wall has been spectacular. It's more of we don't have to fight for growth, we have to restrain the growth, which is in a way a nice problem to have. In this space, they have decorative lighting halo made out of a honeycomb grid, as it were. We needed to go above that and actually provide lights that were out of the way, but still got light to our walls. The lensing on the lights afforded us the ability to lift them above what would typically be a usable height for most of the lights we traditionally use. These lights afford us the ability to use tracks, which allows infinite movability and adjustability in a space. They're not fixed in a location. They are tunable to bring out the color in, let's say, these reds in the plants, and the greens, the darker greens, which are often difficult to get without the proper light. Plants tend to get a little pale if they don't have an adequate spectrum.
So working with Prolific Machines, which is a company that is really trying to embrace nature and bring that into the forefront of agricultural technology, part of their ethos is plants and nature, and that was important to them, to why they wanted this living wall, but also to highlight lots of individual plant species and have this diversity across the wall. There are a few people in particular that really just loved plants, and it was a great challenge to kind of bring in some of the plants that they loved and bring them into the wall. But to do so, we wanted to make sure we had the right light fixtures, and that's where Kessel really was the first choice in this project, and all our projects.